How are y'all doing? Amy Watkins, psychiatrist in Walnut Creek, California. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're spending some time with family and friends and people that you care about today. Thanks so much for joining in. So, I thought that I would talk with y'all a little bit more about our topic from yesterday. I'm getting ready to go to dinner to spend Christmas dinner, Christmas time with oh, you're welcome. Merry Christmas. To spend Christmas dinner time with my husband and with my mother-in-law and my aunt and my sister-in-law. And I am looking forward to that. Merry Christmas, Angel. Wonderful. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. It is very warm here in California, at least to me. It feels pretty warm. And I know that Arvin was talking about it being very warm in Austin and doesn't really feel like Christmas time because it's not very chilly. New Jersey, welcome. I wonder how the weather is there. Tell me what the weather's like there in New Jersey. I hope you guys are getting some snow. Snow would be really, really cool right now. Yes, I'm actually heading over to their house. My husband was working at the hospital today, and oh, warm and rain. Interesting. Yeah, no snow, huh? 75 in Dallas. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's interesting. All around the country, we're not having the usual Christmas time weather. Okay, so I thought that I would talk with you a little bit about mental health. Russia, and Brazil, you guys are always here. Thanks for joining. Oh, 65, and you were at the beach? Oh my goodness, wow. So I wanted to talk with you guys today about an important topic, and this is kind of like part two from what I talked about yesterday. I was asking how your mental health was. Deborah, I enjoyed your first scope. You did a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing more scopes from you, Deborah, and thank you so much for all your wonderful support on Twitter and Periscope. You've just been so wonderful. Okay, so let's continue the conversation that we had yesterday. And the question that I asked was, how was your mental health in 2015? I'm using the past tense already because we're almost at the end of the year. But I want you to spend a few minutes thinking about how would you rate your mental health this year? And what I mean by that is, did you take the time to take care of yourself? Did your yeses mean yes? And did your nos mean no? Okay. I don't think twerking is a mental health topic. Okay. Now, I do like to dance, but I don't know about twerking. And dancing and music and humor are all wonderful, wonderful for good mental health. Okay. Oh, thank you for that sweet compliment. Yeah, I did my hair, got my makeup and everything, getting ready to go to Christmas dinner. But I thought that I would scope for a little bit. And actually, my husband suggested that. He's like, babe, I know you enjoy scoping. How about you scope for a little bit before dinner? I said, that's a great idea. So your mental health was very poor, but finished better. Well, good for you for being able to turn some things around. So what do I mean by having good mental health? What I mean is having the time, making the time to take care of yourself first thing. And for some of you, that's exercise in the morning. Oh, poor connection. Oh, please let me know if anyone else is having a poor connection and I can restart the scope. Just let me know. Other folks, please chime in if it turns out that the connection isn't so great. Okay, so what does it mean to have good mental health? It means taking time to take care of yourself. It's not being selfish to do so. So for some of you, that might mean first thing in the morning, you're praying, you're meditating, you're getting some exercise in, you're journaling, okay? It's also having good boundaries. So your yeses really do mean yes, and your nos really do mean no, okay? And so the topic of this scope is how to get more time. And the way that you get more time is when someone asks you, okay, all right, Radiant Living, thanks for joining. I'll see you another time, or please check out the replay. Hello, hello. So the way that you get more time is that when people ask you, hey, and I'll just use the name Marie. Hey, Marie, we would really love for you to help out with this bake sale. Can you be there Wednesday morning with some cookies? You can always say, let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. You can always say something like, thanks so much for thinking of me. I'll get back to you. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Yes, yes, exactly. That's so important. And so oftentimes people will be saying yes to things that they really don't want to say yes to, but they feel guilty or selfish if they say no. And the example that I gave yesterday was that, as you can imagine, I was invited to a lot of great holiday parties. And, I consider myself to be very social and fun. And I like connecting with people, but it almost was just too much. And so my neighbor asked me to go to his party, and I said, Daniel, thank you so much for thinking of me, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to make it. But he didn't stop there. We know that sometimes people don't stop there. They'll keep asking and asking. He's like, no, the party won't be the same without you, Mel. We need to have you there. It won't be the same. I'm just across the street. And I said, oh, Daniel, I really appreciate you thinking of me, and that's so sweet of you to say that I, bring some humor and fun to the parties, but I'm just not going to be able to make it, okay? And so really your no should mean no and your yes should be yes. So you should never say yes out of obligation or fear of the person rejecting you or being angry with you, because someone who really cares about you and honors their mental health and your mental health is not going to make you feel bad or try to make you feel bad or guilty for saying no, okay? So just think about that. That's the way in which you can get more time. So instead of immediately saying, yes, I'll be there, I'd be happy to help out, you can always get more time. You can say, let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. Or you can say, thanks so much for thinking of me. However, I'm not able to do that at this time. I really wish I could, but I'm not in a position to be able to do that. And some people get nosy, right? They'll ask you all kinds of questions like, what do you mean? And what do you have going on? And, and they'll press you and press you. And you can use what we in mental health call the broken record technique. You can say the same thing over and over and over again. So you can be very gracious. This is what I talked about yesterday. You can be very gracious. So, I'm never mean or curt or anything like that. I'll say, thank you so much for thinking of me. Thanks so much for inviting me. I know you throw the best parties, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to make it this year. Okay? And that's okay. And you can be gracious and kind, and you can say no. But oftentimes people will say yes, and they'll do this kind of backhanded thing where they'll say yes, but then they'll say, oh, I got sick, I can't show up, or they just may not show up at all. So they said they were going to be there, or they'll make up a little lie like, oh, I had car trouble. That's why I couldn't make it to the party. Because later on what happened was, after they said yes, they realized they really didn't want to go. And so then that's really, really unfortunate, because the person's expecting them to be there, and then also the person's feeling kind of yucky. The person who said yes when they really meant no is feeling kind of yucky because they really didn't honor their values, and they said yes to something they really didn't want to do, and then they told a little fib, a white lie, okay, as you guys know. Happy holidays, Natalie. Yes, yes. So do you all have any questions about that? Thank you so much for the hearts, too. I really appreciate that. But I think this is a really important topic that, you need to think about as far as your mental health. So make sure your yes means yes enthusiastically, and your no means no, I'm not going to be able to do this. Because here's the thing. If you say yes to everything, then you're going to be so burnt out and so frustrated that you're not going to have the energy to be there for the people you really care about and you really want to be there for, because you're just going to be spent. Okay? So you have to have those good boundaries. That's all a part of having good mental health, and be consistent with your values. So I can't define what your values are. I have my personal values about keeping my word and so forth. You get to decide what your values are, and you want to be consistent and congruent with those values, right? So practicing good mental health means good self-care, okay? It means good boundaries, good communication, accepting how you feel. Like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty yucky that I had to tell that lie because I didn't have the courage to just say no, right? And then you end up feeling really yucky about that, right? But you don't have to do that. If you come from a place of strength and if you have good mental health, oh, I'm glad you're learning English, Joseph. Some of the folks who get on here sometimes on my scopes, they say I talk too fast. I'm probably not the best scoper for you to watch in terms of trying to learn English. They always say, slow down, slow down. Maybe Periscope in the future on the replays, you'll be able to slow down. Oh boy. I remember when I was first learning Spanish, Joseph. I was first learning Spanish, and I would tell people, despacio, por favor, you please slow down. And I think, why do people who speak Spanish talk so quickly? But they're just talking their normal rate, just like I'm talking, usually the normal rate for someone speaking English. But when you're learning a language, it seems like everyone's speaking the language so much more quickly. You're working on a book about mental health in the Black church. Oh, wonderful. So this is a big issue, and part of the reason why I'm here on Periscope and trying to associate a face with mental health treatment, because as you can imagine, in the church, you know that oftentimes people go to the pastor or to the church leadership with a problem or a concern, and it may be an actual mental health or mental illness concern, which really should be treated by a mental health professional. And there's some pastors who are just great. They're wonderful and they're really knowledgeable. In fact, my pastor who married my husband and me in church at the Stanford Church last year, which was really amazing, he has sent some patients my way because he recognizes what is outside of his realm and what he can treat as a pastor, you know, or what he can, not treat isn't the word I should use, but what he can manage as the pastor, right? And so he is aware and attuned to what's going on that's beyond his realm, okay? But just like with anything, you know, if you had a broken leg, you know, yes, you would pray to God for guidance and resources and that you know how to get the treatment that you need, and, you know, and you would go to the ER, you know, you would do what you needed to do and you'd get the surgery that you need, right? So I'm not saying don't pray on it and don't turn to God, you know, for what you need for the courage and the strength and so forth, but you also need to take advantage of the resources that God's provided for you too. Oh, Deborah, thank you. Yeah, the holidays are really, really a tough time. And so something that I mentioned in the scope yesterday, and feel free, any of you, to use this if you're there with your family, you're taking a little Periscope break watching this. If things are getting heated, let's say that people are starting to just say mean things, or someone's really starting to push your buttons, or let's say someone's drinking and they're just acting very belligerent, or some other concern that's making you feel really, really uncomfortable, you can always say something like, I'm going to excuse myself for a few minutes and I'll come back later, okay? Or I'm feeling really uncomfortable right now. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to come back later, okay? Or you can even call it a night sometimes, depending if you're just visiting versus if you're staying there. But I think that a lot of people don't know that they have that option, that you can always take a time out. You can put yourself in time out as an adult, right? So, and you can be very gracious about it. And so I wanted to give you some words, some tools to use if things are getting heated and uncomfortable. You can always take a break. And that might just be going to the bathroom and you do some deep breathing in there, you pray, you know, you do what you need to do. Or if that's taking a walk around the block and then coming back, okay? You have the right to do that. No one should ever try to make you feel guilty or bad for taking a break. It's okay. You do not have to sit there and tolerate the drama. That's what I try to tell people. They think like, oh, I can't just leave, or oh, I have to make it stop. Like you're trying to control someone else's behavior. You can't do that. We're not that powerful, okay? Now, we as parents, of course, we can discipline our children, but when you have grown-ups, adults, acting like teenagers or children, then you will have to sometimes separate yourself, okay? Most don't realize mental health counseling is covered by insurance. Yes, many insurance plans do cover mental health services. We call that mental health parity, and many of us psychiatrists and other mental health professionals strongly feel that mental health should be treated just like physical health. So if you're having severe depression symptoms and you're needing regular therapy and medication, that all should be covered, much like it would be if you had diabetes and, you know, you needed to get your glucometer and you needed to get your diabetes education, you know, and you needed to, let's say if you needed to be hospitalized, you know, if you needed some additional support or resources, that would be covered too, just like any physical diagnosis, because in many ways, these mental health concerns, when people actually have mental illness, it is something that's going on biologically, but because we don't have a specific test, you know, that we're looking for certain markers and so forth, and we don't test it that way, a lot of people don't think that it truly exists, and they say, oh, just get over it, just feel better. And it's like, gosh, you know, if I could snap out of it and make myself feel better, I would do that, okay? I would do that, but I'm feeling so depressed, I can't do that now, you know, or I want to stop drinking so much and I can't stop. I need help with that. You know, I can't sleep. My thoughts are racing. I can't sleep. I'm feeling out of control. I need some help. And I really wish that more people had the courage to speak up for themselves and for others and help guide them to the resources that they need. Because honestly, by the time someone comes to see me, they have suffered for a very, very, very long time. Months, years, because of the stigma and the shame. And finally, it's kind of like the last resort. So someone might have significant OCD symptoms, okay, where they're counting and checking and they feel very distraught by this, like, something's wrong with me. I can't have someone seeing me tap a certain number of times or spitting a certain number of times. It's really affecting my ability to go to social functions, to go to work, and they've struggled with it for years by the time they've seen me. Or someone's pulling their hair out, trichotillomania, and they're feeling very anxious. And by the time they see me or someone like me, they've suffered with that so long because they're so embarrassed and they don't know what's going on. And then it's like relief, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was actually a condition that actually has treatment. Okay, it's just really, really sad to see so many people suffering and struggling out there. And so that's why I want you all to know that there is great mental health treatment available, that you don't have to suffer and struggle. And the more that we talk about these things, the more that we can support each other, and we don't have to keep things hush hush. So people don't have to whisper, oh, I saw this psychiatrist, Dr. Watkins, and I really don't want to tell anyone, but I'll tell you about her because I think that maybe you should see her. It shouldn't be this whisper, whisper, hush, hush kind of thing at all. It really shouldn't. And if someone has a great experience with a therapist, I hope that they would be able to tell someone else who's struggling, hey, I saw this great therapist when I was having anxiety, and he really helped me out, and here's his number, and maybe consider giving him a call, that kind of thing, right? Thank you for those hearts. I see a whole lot of purple hearts, so I wonder if that's Deborah. That's so supportive. All right, you guys, any other questions or thoughts about the holidays, about mental health, about anything that you just want some tips and pointers on for today before I wrap up? Yes, that's Deborah. Oh my goodness. You are a blessing, Deborah. Wonderful. You and Zoom Out and Backpack by Me. There's like 10 of you guys who are just so, so sweet. I am a psychiatrist, not a physiatrist, but very close. So I'm a psychiatrist. So I treat mental illness, but I also talk about the importance of maintaining good mental health because people often yes, that's okay. Because people often talk about mental illness, but they don't really talk much about mental health. So there are a lot of great people here in Periscope who are promoting physical health, and they have great, workout plans and different, food plans you can follow and how you can look and feel your best. But I think that we need to be very proactive in talking about our mental health and what does it mean to have great mental health, right? So for me as a psychiatrist, I think great mental health involves good self-care, okay? So taking time for yourself and doing whatever it is that makes you feel good, that you can be happy about and proud about, that really lifts your mood, that's very healthy and positive. So for me, those are things like taking a dog for a walk or writing in my journal or praying, okay? Also having good communication skills and having good boundaries, making sure your yes means yes and your no means no. And accepting your feelings, not trying to make them go away by turning to alcohol or to food or to rage or to anger. Okay, so accepting your feelings, validating your feelings, not trying to make yourself not feel the way you feel. So many people will tell me, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to. Just accept what you're feeling. Accept what you're feeling, and let's help you work through that. Let's look at why you're feeling this way and what can we do to help you move forward. Okay, so those are all parts of maintaining good mental health. Okay, and we know that the mind and the body are connected, right? So if you don't have great mental health, you will not have great physical health. If you don't have good physical health, that can affect your mental health, right? And so I think that we don't spend enough time talking about how important it is to have good mental health. And then I also talk a lot about decreasing stigma and encouraging people to take those first steps and getting some help, okay? Okay, so I am going to wrap up there, okay, and you all are welcome to follow me. I'm on Facebook, M. Watkins MD on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter, M. Watkins MD. I have the same handle to make life easier, the same handle everywhere, and I have a lot of great positive, fun things on Facebook that you can check out, and also on Twitter, and also too, you can go to my website. I have some great resources there, yourmentalhealthfirst.com. That's yourmentalhealthfirst.com, and you can head on over there and you can sign up. I have an email list there and podcast and mental health tips, all kinds of great stuff. So For those of you who celebrate Christmas, I'm wishing you a very wonderful, happy, Merry Christmas. And for those of you who don't, I hope you're just enjoying the day and taking some time to take care of your mental health. Thank you, Deborah, for putting that. That's my website, yourmentalhealthfirst.com. Okay, and I will let y'all go now. Take good care of yourself and others, and I'll see you on Scope probably tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.